Keeping a close eye on Radar 3000 as scattered thunderstorms form for parts of southern Wisconsin, what threats they bring, and also taking a look at our first warned Skycam network to show you what those storms are doing in parts of southern Wisconsin right now. That's coming up.
20 years since the Stoughton tornado outbreak, how residents are recovering after that fateful day. Plus, selecting a new police chief for Madison, the next steps after the final closed-door interviews with the candidates. And we welcome you now to News 3 Now at 6. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric Franke is off. Loud storms rolled through southern Wisconsin this morning, and it also happens to be the 20th anniversary of the Stoughton tornado outbreak. News 3 Now is bringing you full team coverage of both events. Let's begin with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington. Alex, are there any more storms on Radar 3000 right now?
Unfortunately, with the anniversary of the Stoughton tornado 20 years ago, we do have storms right now across parts of southern Wisconsin as we continue this active pattern, tracking thunderstorms just south and east of the Platteville area down towards Cuba City, heading towards Hazel Green. Keeping a very close eye on the thunderstorms, particularly over parts of southwest Wisconsin, where we're a little bit closer to that area of low pressure that still exists in the atmosphere, puts a little bit of a spin in the atmosphere, and we can't rule out the potential. While that threat is low, we can't rule out the potential for a brief funnel cloud or perhaps a brief spin-up tornado. Luckily, at this point in time, we've had no funnel clouds or tornadoes reported in southwest Wisconsin. More concentrated area of showers and thunderstorms with heavy rainfall stretching from Broadhead east to Janesville to near Elkhorn along 43 in areas that have seen and been inundated with heavy rainfall over the course of the past couple weeks, widening things out across southern Wisconsin. The best chance for showers and thunderstorms is going to eye up areas along the Wisconsin River Valley over towards I-94 and points to the south for the next couple hours. We'll do a run here, a future track that verifies those thunderstorms moving through parts of the area north of Madison. You stand a significantly less chance of having thunderstorm activity across the area as we go into the evening hours. Here's a live look as part of our first warned WeatherCam network, looking at that thunderstorm down towards the Hazel Green areas. We are pointing towards the south in our Queen Bee radio Skycam, and keeping an eye on the thunderstorms north and west of the Dodgeville area out towards the Highland area. We'll have another fresh look at future track and another fresh look at Radar 3000 to give you the very latest updates in a few minutes on where those storms are when you join me next.
Sounds good. Thank you, Alex. And with extreme weather events on the rise, the American Red Cross of Wisconsin is asking for your help responding to local and nationwide emergencies. This morning, the group issued an urgent call for volunteers, saying it needs more trained responders who could deploy at a moment's notice. The Red Cross says volunteers will receive free, flexible training and can choose roles that work within their schedules. Also, you can stay up to date with the forecast on the First Warn Weather app that has hourly planners, road conditions, and radar. You can download this for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC Weather. Well, today, attorneys for the father of the Abundant Life Christian School shooter moved to have the complaint against him dismissed. Jeffrey Ruppnau's attorneys claim the theory of liability that prosecutors are using to tie him to the deadly shooting does not stand up to traditional review, and they say it violates his Second Amendment rights. Ruppnau is charged with intentionally giving a dangerous weapon to a person under 18 and contributing to child delinquency. His 15-year-old daughter opened fire at Abundant Life, killing 2 people and hurting 6 others before dying by suicide. Madison police are investigating a shooting on the city's southwest side. Yesterday afternoon, officers were called to Allied Drive and found a man with a gunshot wound to his leg. He was taken to a hospital and released with non-life-threatening injuries, and no arrests have been made. So if you have any information on this shooting, please contact Madison Police. Also tonight, the Madison Police Department is coming closer to naming its new next chief. The Police and Fire Commission held closed-door interviews with the candidates, releasing records of those interviews late last week. Political reporter Will Keneally has more on the process and the candidates.
I believe I'm ready now, not a year from now, but right now.
That's the message from the candidates looking to become Madison's next police chief. In the running are the current interim police chief, John Patterson, Milwaukee assistant police chief, Stephen Johnson, and Madison captain of training, Stephanie Drescher.
In my experience, dealing with these large, complex issues and that we may face makes me one of the best candidates.
And I believe it's what sets me apart of having a forward-thinking, education-based mindset for the department.
The candidates sat for these interviews in closed-door sessions last week. Now, these videos are the first chance members of the public have gotten to hear from them. Now, this is ahead of a special meeting of the Police and Fire Commission next Monday. Now, members of the public can register on the city website to speak at that meeting. They can also register written comments via the email here. The three candidates are vying for the role at a time of increased attention to immigration enforcement and what the role of a local police force should be compared to what federal agents are expected to enforce.
We will not arrest, we will not contact, detain, or investigate anyone for the sole purpose of the enforcement of immigration law or investigation of immigration status laws.
If local law enforcement are enforcing immigration laws, you have our community not participating fully in their civil process.
Enforcing federal immigration laws is going to deteriorate that trust that has taken years to build up and relationships that have built up.
Reporting in Madison, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Will. And members of the public who want to speak at next week's meeting should register at the city's Police and Fire Commission website. You can see the full candidate interviews on that website as well. Well, several people in St. Francis, Wisconsin, near Milwaukee, had to be rescued from their apartments after a balcony walkway collapsed. Luckily, no one was hurt in this incident just north of Milwaukee's airport last night. Firefighters used a ladder to help residents in 3 apartments get out through their windows.
So it took some communication. They made the grabs, getting the people out of the upper floors relatively quick. I mean, within the first several minutes on the scene. And at that point, the dust had, no pun intended, the dust had settled. They were able to get the people out to safety, and then we've condemned those 4 units.
And the St. Francis fire chief said 2 exterior walls of the apartment building also have some structural issues. However, they don't believe the walls are at risk of collapsing. The woman charged in a fatal crash who was arrested by federal immigration authorities has been returned to the Dane County Jail. Noelia Martinez Avila is accused of homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle and other felony charges in the deaths of Hallie Helgeson and Brady Heiling. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security says Martinez Avila is from Honduras and is in the U.S. illegally. A Dane County judge ordered that ICE return her to Dane County after agents arrested her within an hour of her posting bond. And 20 states and Washington, D.C. are suing the Trump administration over conditions the Justice Department put on federal grant money for crime victims. They say the administration is trying to force states to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. The grant money helps crime victims with things like medical bills, funeral costs, counseling, and emergency shelter. Well, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky joined other key European leaders at the White House today. They're meeting with President Trump for high-stakes talks to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump expressed hope that the talks will lead to a 3-way meeting between the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine. It's something Russian President Vladimir Putin has so far resisted, but Zelensky has been pushing.
This is a good signal about Israel. I think this is very good.
We can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting.
Among the main issues, what happens to about 20% of Ukrainian territory that Russian troops currently control. Other key European leaders want a deal that includes security guarantees so that Putin cannot launch another invasion in a few years. Well, back on this very day in 2005, Wisconsin experienced the most tornadoes in one day, 27, including what turned out to be an F3 tornado over the Stoughton area. Reporter Arman Rahman found the monstrous storm continues to leave an unforgettable impact 20 years later.
Tornado hit while McManus was ending his daughter's chapter in Stoughton, while Kristen McKay and her daughter were starting a new one.
I just moved in. My daughter was 3 months old. So that's why I remember it so perfectly. You could see in the distance stuff flying, just flying. Like, this is not normal stuff.
But now they all say it's become a memory of community strength.
Relationships trump things, and so that really was probably the best lesson out of all of it.
Reporting in Stoughton, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
And now to a quick programming note. This Wednesday, WISC-TV and Television Wisconsin will activate 2 new transmitters. This upgrade will provide antenna viewers with a better and clearer picture of our programming. However, you will need to rescan your TV after the launch to receive the improved signal. So to do this, open your TV's menu, select Settings, and then choose Channel Scan or Auto Tune. We also have these instructions on our website, channel3000.com/rescan. And an important note, if you already have a regularly clear signal, there is no need to rescan. Well, coming up on News 3 Now at 6, pawn shops are becoming more popular among back-to-school shoppers, and a balanced diet can help your student perform better in school, what doctors say they should be eating more of when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. It turns out pawn shops are becoming popular with parents who are shopping for their kids. According to Easy Pawn, their stores saw a 4% rise in sales last quarter. Items like shoes, laptops, and mini fridges for college dorms have become strong sellers. One main reason? Items at pawn shops are much less expensive, sometimes up to 50% off. Well, UW Health says now is the time to start thinking about starting the school year strong with good nutrition. UW Health experts say more than 90% of children ages 4 to 18 do not meet the recommended intake for vegetable, and also more than 75% don't meet guidelines for fruit intake.
We also know that about 90% of kids consume more than the recommended intake of saturated fats, added sugars, and added sodium. We also have research showing that better intake of fruits and vegetables and more regular breakfast consumption can lead to better academic performance, better test scores, better function in a lot of different areas.
UW Health says kids and teenagers should be eating 5 fruits and vegetables every day. Dietitians recommend using frozen or canned fruits and veggies as a budget-friendly alternative when those fresh foods are not in season. Well, when we come back at 6, Alex tells us about the nicer weather on the way, and also Hurricane Erin approaches the east coast of the U.S., how officials and residents there are preparing for dangerous conditions. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. Hurricane Erin is expected to stir up some dangerous conditions along the East Coast after pelting the Caribbean. Officials in North Carolina are not taking any chances, ordering evacuations for some islands along the Outer Banks. Residents and tourists race to get out. Now, while people are enjoying Miami Beach now, officials there are preparing too.
We want to make sure that we inform the public, everyone's coming to the beach, so we make sure our lifeguards are ready and able, and making sure that they know exactly where the hot spots are, the problem areas.
Coastal flooding is expected to begin tomorrow and continue through Thursday. And we had some loud, serious storms this morning, but a stretch of nice weather is on the way. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington has a look at our future temperatures, and it looks great, but a little bit left right now.
A little bit left over as we go through the evening, but this is it. This will be the end of the thunderstorm activity for a really long period of time. Let's get tracking. Radar 3000, we've got scattered showers and thunderstorms stretching from Platteville to Jamestown to Cuba City, over towards the Shullsburg area and over towards the Hazel Green area. We go up 151. We have some additional showers and thunderstorms between the Highland area and Dodgeville, and between Dodgeville on 23 to the north up towards the Lone Rock area. As we go off towards the east, this tour of showers and thunderstorms is a bit more in what we call the training mode, stretching from Broadhead to Janesville over towards Elkhorn. This is repeated shower after thunderstorm, and rainfall estimates here over the course of the past couple of hours, painting anywhere between 1 to 2 or slightly more inches of rain have fallen here just over the course of the past couple of hours, so would not be shocked to see some minor flooding and ponding in parts of Rock County, stretching over towards the Elkhorn area and as far west as Greene County, as well over towards Monroe and Broadhead. Widening things out, that concentration of showers and storms really going to eye up the Wisconsin River Valley over to I-94 and areas towards the south, towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. I think Future Track is doing a great job painting the scattered showers and a couple of isolated thunderstorms through about 10, and then it fizzles as we lose the heat of the day, and by the time we get to the late evening hours, those storm threats will certainly decrease. Keeping an eye on all storms here, that First Warn Weather Cam live with our Upland Hills Sky Cam in the Dodgeville area, showing off those thunderstorms off to the west on 151 towards the Highland area and towards the north and east. That line extends up Highway 23 towards the Lone Rock area. Can't rule out the flooding rains that we were just showing. Heavy rainfall stretching between Broadhead, Janesville over to Elkhorn. Gusty winds, and we can't rule out a brief spin up tornado, although that threat is very low, and the Storm Prediction Center are supporting here. Isolated severe thunderstorm activity expected from Madison and areas off towards the south and east. Once we lose the heat of the day towards 8, 9 o'clock, again, that threat is going to go down. The reason why our focus is more towards southern Wisconsin, the storms we had this morning help push the focus more towards the south. An isolated strong storm, like I said, can't be ruled out through mid-evening, and then storms will eventually end overnight. As a recap on the last of the showers and the thunderstorms, and our 10-day forecast here is showing much more refreshing temperatures. Look at that Sunday, barely getting to 70 degrees, lows in the upper 40s Sunday night. And as I promised at 5, I was going to give you a first peek into the end of the month, going into the very beginning of September. Can you believe it? September is almost here. Cooler than normal readings. We've got that blue all across the, let's say the northeast third or so of the United States, suggesting that we're going to have cooler than normal temperatures, or at least a good chance of it. And the wet stuff will be to the west, and the dry stuff will be towards the south, towards the Gulf region. So we've got cool weather on the way. We just got to get through tonight, Sarah, and southern Wisconsin. Of course, I'll be keeping a close eye if we do happen to get an isolated, strong or severe storm through the mid-evening hours.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Alex. And as we tried to bring you earlier, but we had some technical difficulties. On this day back in 2005, Wisconsin experienced the most tornadoes in one day, 27 of them, including what was then an F3 over the Stoughton area. Arman Rahman found the monstrous storm continues to leave an unforgettable impact 20 years later.
It may be hard to tell, but this big oak tree behind me was completely stripped down when the tornadoes hit the Stoughton area 20 years ago. Now it's regrown itself and become a symbol of the town's own regrowth and resiliency.
I mean, the damage was surreal.
Surreal and at first unreal for Larry McManus. He was driving his youngest daughter to college at Bethel University. In Toma, he got a call from a neighbor that the tornado hit his home, so they turned around.
I had my SUV sitting there. It had been smashed down to about this high, you know. Axles of cars and stoves and refrigerator parts and just stuff all over the place. It was
The house, one of 100 that was no longer able to be a home.
It's one of those things that you really don't forget.
Martin Lamers certainly hasn't forgotten what he saw as a Stoughton fire chief. The following morning sticks with him 20 years later.
The surprise of the massive destruction. I mean, you know, things were, you know, after just a few minutes, everything was gone. We were seeing homes that were, you know, totally flat.
56 different fire departments responded from as far as Cherry Valley, Illinois.
They came in, they did shifts in town, and they covered our areas. Had a lot of people in the community that brought food in for the volunteers.
But of course, you can't rebuild lost memories.
The one thing we remember losing was a dollhouse that I had made for my girls that was sitting in the garage, and we couldn't find even a piece of that anywhere.
The tornado hit while McManus was ending his daughter's chapter in Stoughton, while Kristen McKay and her daughter were starting a new one.
I just moved in. My daughter was 3 months old. So that's why I remember it so perfectly. You could see in the distance stuff flying, just flying. Like, this is not normal stuff.
But now they all say it's become a memory of community strength.
Relationships trump things, and so that really was probably the best lesson out of all of it.
Reporting in Stoughton, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
All right, thank you, Arman. And how about them Brewers? It just keeps happening.
It just keeps happening, and they're ready to start a new streak down in Chicago. A new one hopefully coming their way. Highlights from the first game of a doubleheader, and check out Craig Counsell's reaction. More of that next on News 3 Now. It felt like the Crew might never lose. On Saturday, Milwaukee's magic continued as the Brewers, against all odds, won their 14th straight game, setting a new franchise record. It was a magical run that ended on Sunday and made me think, how does it stack up with the best streaks in the history of our state? For my money, this is how it would go. Since 2000, you've got to start with the Cuba City Girls, who won 76 games on the basketball floor in a row, followed by a close second when Waunakee football strung together 48 straight. And who could forget the Packers run in the early 2010s, 19 in a row, including a Super Bowl victory. This year's Crew, at least for me, in good company right behind the pack, rounding out the list with the 2019 Bucks, who won 18 in a row. Now back to baseball. The Brewers had a chance to start a new streak today. The first in a 5-game set in Chicago was scoreless in the third until Bryce Terang touched them all. His 13th of the year and his 7th in the month of August makes it 1-0 Crew. And in the 5th, Terang says one is nice, but twice is Bryce. He drives in another run, and the Brewers beat the Cubs 7-0. Game 2 starts at 7:05, or at least it should. There's some rain there. And Game 3 of the series is tomorrow night at the same time and will air on our sister station, Television Wisconsin. If there is an injury bug flying around the locker room in Green Bay, it's evolved from a bug into some other creature. Seriously, the amount of injuries is alarming. None more important than Jordan Love's ligament in his thumb. The good news is 6 days after getting that surgery, he was already back out on the practice field today.
Check on our weather?
Yes, quick look at Radar 3000 right now. Scattered showers from the Wisconsin River Valley in areas towards the Illinois border. And we'll have a fresh look at Radar 3000 at 10.
All right, keep in touch, and thank you so much for watching News 3 Now at 6.